Beau is Afraid is the film directed by Ari Aster. This one is his third film. If you know who he is, he directed Midsummer and Hereditary, two excellent horror films that bring a lot of trauma into the mix of a demon movie, and Midsummer's a cult movie. So this one is not a horror film per se. It is parts horror, parts drama, and Ari Aster describes it as a semi-tragedy, surrealist black comedy, whatever that means, but he pitched it as like a 4-hour movie. So anyway, this one is about Beau Wasserman, played by Joaquin Phoenix. He's kind of like a soft-spoken man-child who lives in a really shitty, squalor-filled apartment building full of people assaulting outside. He lives in one of the roughest parts of town. We don't know why, but we find out later in the film. And he is preparing to go for his I guess yearly trip to visit his mother. However, there's something there under the surface that we finally unpack later in the film. There's a lot of like setup in this film. So the film's kind of divided into 4 acts really. The first act is him in the apartment building getting ready to go to see his mother. The second one is him getting in an accident on the way and being taken care of by a really weird couple, and they have a daughter and a sort of surrogate son that they're keeping. And then the third act goes into the forest, and then the final act is the sort of finale, which things kind of go off the rails a little bit. If you've seen the first 2 films of Ari Aster and you watch this one, you're probably not going to like it. It's a very divisive film because it almost feels like Ari Aster's enjoying it a little bit too much. It feels this movie's really pretentious and indulgent, and you kind of feel like he's got his own head up his own ass, to be honest. It just someone should have just read the script and told him no, don't do that, and he just didn't. And it's definitely going to alienate a lot of normal film goers. I mean, the movie is 3 hours long. You're already, pushing the limits of what people are willing to handle. But I feel like he's just losing it a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with taking creative risks and being weird. And the movie does, the opening sequences kind of recall Martin Scorsese's After Hours, and then it's a very satirical sort of film because the way the crappy city is sort of filmed, it almost feels like a weird surrealist stage play. The second part kind of feels like a Misery of sorts, and then like the third one's kind of like a weird fantasy sort of like thing, and then the last section of the film is definitely what is really people aren't going to like it. And up until that point, I thought the movie was pretty close to being a masterpiece, but I guess it didn't stick the landing because the movie just went a little bit too far, in my opinion. So Beau is Afraid does feature great cinematography, amazing performances. I really like Patti LuPone as the mother, and obviously Joaquin Phoenix, and there's a couple other smaller players in there like Nathan Lane. Very nice monotone dry humor throughout, but overall I just feel like Ari Aster definitely went a little bit too far this time around. So I give Beau is Afraid a 3 out of 10.